Tell me, my friend, have you ever wondered why the throne is so often occupied by a fool? Why the crown finds its way, again, to the head of the least deserving? You look at your rulers and think, how did this happen? But what if I told you it was never an accident? Some music deepens, a tone of dark revelation. The problem is not the fool who rises, it is the crowd who lifts him. The masses do not crave wisdom, they crave comfort. They do not reward truth, they reward performance. And thus the world endlessly manufactures its own idiots in power. Machiavelli leans closer, eyes glinting with irony. Tonight, I will reveal why society will always create idiots in power. Why every age, from the Caesars to the presidents, from the popes to the influencers, repeats the same comedy of fools. And perhaps you'll see that it is not just they who are to blame, it is us. To understand why society creates fools in power, we must first observe the invisible architecture of the world itself. For a ruler does not ascend merely because he desires power. He ascends because the society beneath him allows it, encourages it, and unknowingly selects him. A king is not born in the chambers of a palace. He is born in the desires, fears, and illusions of the people. And the people, though numerous, rarely know what is truly best for them. They choose leaders as a reflection of themselves. When a society is weak, it chooses a weak man. When it is frightened, it chooses a loud man. When it is ignorant, it chooses a fool. The irony is that the people believe they are choosing strength. They believe they are choosing someone who speaks for them. But strength is not loud. Wisdom is not charming. Competence is rarely entertaining. And so the masses, who seek comfort rather than truth, overlook the silent thinker and select the confident performer. They mistake noise for conviction, theatrics for leadership, simplicity for clarity. They desire to be inspired rather than educated, validated rather than corrected. The leader they choose is rarely the one who sees reality clearly. It is the one who tells them what they wish reality to be. Consider the environment in which such a ruler is formed. A society rewards those who conform to its existing norms. The child who obeys without thinking is praised. The student who repeats what he is told is honored. The worker who follows procedures without question is promoted. And thus, early in life, society molds individuals not to think, but to comply. Critical thought becomes an inconvenience. Creativity becomes a threat. Independence becomes rebelliousness. And any person who seeks to understand the world deeply, who challenges assumptions, who insists on truth even when it is uncomfortable, is pushed to the margins. The society admires him from afar, but fears to follow him. He is too unsettling, too reawake. The candidate who rises to power, therefore, is often the one who has mastered the art of pleasing others. He learns to say what people enjoy hearing. He learns to present himself as the answer to their dissatisfaction. He does not need to solve problems, he only needs to promise solutions. He does not need intelligence, he needs confidence. He does not need depth, he needs presence. And when such a person enters the public stage, the crowd is captivated. His words are simple, his promises are easy, his flaws are hidden behind grand gestures, and the masses, hungry for hope, for entertainment, for emotional nourishment, lift him higher. This process begins not in elections, not in courts, not in palaces, but in everyday life. The social world rewards not the thinker but the imitator, not the wise man but the agreeable man. People are drawn not to those who challenge their worldview, but to those who reflect it. And so, slowly society selects from itself the traits it values most. If it values spectacle, it will raise a performer. If it values obedience, it will raise a puppet. If it values flattery, it will raise a liar. And if it values simplicity, it will raise a fool. The tragedy is not merely that such leaders exist. It is that the society creates them unconsciously. No one wakes up and proclaims, "Let us choose a fool to guide us." Rather, they simply follow the path of least resistance, the path most comforting, most familiar. A wise leader demands effort from his people. He asks them to think, to learn, to confront difficult truths. This is labor, and the masses avoid labor when they can. The fool, on the other hand, demands nothing. He offers pleasure, distraction, noise. He allows the people to remain as they are, and thus they embrace him. The ascent of the foolish ruler is not a failure of the system. It is the system. It is the natural outcome of a society that fears discomfort more than decline, a society that teaches obedience instead of curiosity, a society that values appearance more than essence. And because these conditions repeat themselves across generations, the pattern repeats as well. The people do not realize that the leader they raise is the leader their habits deserve. The ruler is not above the people. He is their mirror, held up to them so they may see what they have become. They may despise him. They may mock him. They may curse him. Yet they created him. They formed him. They crowned him. And they will do it again. If we are to understand why foolish rulers rise, we must first examine the most delicate and dangerous force in human society, the psychology of the masses. The crowd does not think in reason, it thinks in emotion. It does not analyze, it reacts. And when confronted with truth, it recoils, not because truth is hateful, but because truth demands responsibility. Most people do not want responsibility, they want to be taken care of. And those who wish to be taken care of are easily led. The masses do not seek wisdom. Wisdom is heavy. Wisdom requires effort. It demands that we question our own comforts, challenge our own beliefs, confront our own flaws. The masses instead seek the comforting lie. The lie is sweet, easy, and promising. It whispers that the world is simple, that blame can be placed elsewhere, that salvation is just one leader away. The comforting lie tells the people they are victims, and victims do not need to change, they only need to wait. Wait for a savior, wait for a hero, wait for someone to take charge in their name. The wise man tells the people that they must change themselves. The fool tells the people that the world must change for them. And so, the fool receives their love. Listen carefully. The masses love those who affirm their illusions. They do not follow the leader who speaks the truth. They follow the leader who flatters their desires. They follow the one who tells them that they are good as they are, that they deserve more, that the world owes them. And thus, the most dangerous ruler is not the tyrant who forces obedience by fear, but the incompetent ruler who rules by indulgence, who feeds the desires of the masses like a merchant feeding honey to bees. Sweetness can suffocate more effectively than chains. The masses choose leaders as they choose entertainment. The one who dazzles, who amuses, who shocks, who simplifies, is the one who commands attention. The wise leader speaks in complexity because reality is complex. The foolish leader speaks in slogans because slogans are easy to remember. The masses do not ask for understanding, they ask to feel something. And the one who makes them feel anger, hope, pride, vengeance, joy. That is the one they follow. There is a reason the crowd cheers loudest for the one who promises to fix everything. The human mind loves certainty, even when certainty is a lie. A leader who says, I will think deeply and act carefully is ignored. A leader who says, I alone will save you, is worshipped. The masses are not drawn to competence, they are drawn to conviction. It matters little how foolish the conviction is, so long as it is expressed boldly. The louder the promise, the more desperately they cling to it. And here lies the greatest tragedy. The masses mistake emotional satisfaction for truth. If something feels true, they accept it. If something feels uncomfortable, they reject it. The ruler who understands this need not be intelligent. He only needs to understand the desires of the people. He learns to shape his voice to their hunger. He speaks not with thought, but with tone. Not with logic, but with rhythm. He becomes a poet of emptiness, a performer of certainty. The masses, in turn, give him their loyalty, not because he deserves it, but because he provides emotional refuge. He protects them from the burden of thinking. He shields them from doubt. He becomes a guardian of their illusions. And once illusions are protected, they become sacred. This is why the masses cling to their foolish rulers, even when the evidence of their incompetence is undeniable. To accept the ruler's failure would require them to accept that they themselves were wrong to choose him. And that is intolerable. The ego of the masses will defend its choice, even at the cost of their own well-being. They will follow the leader into prosperity if he is wise, but they will also follow him into ruin if he is foolish, so long as he continues to tell them what they want to hear. Thus, the psychology of the masses ensures the rise of the fool. They may suffer under him, but they suffer comfortably, reassured by the comforting lie that someone else is responsible for their misfortune. They hate him, yet they cling to him. They mock him, yet they defend him. They complain about him, yet they follow him into the next chapter of decline. Now we must look toward the throne itself and examine the nature of power. For power is not merely a position, it is a stage. It is a theater where the roles are chosen not by merit, but by appetite. And appetite rarely seeks virtue. Power attracts those who wish to be seen, admired, obeyed, worshipped. It draws not the wise who understand the cost of authority, but the ones who crave the appearance of authority. And it is here that the fool finds his place most naturally. You see, the wise man hesitates before seizing power. He understands the burden, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the endless judgment. He knows that power requires discipline more than spectacle, thought more than impulse, patience more than display. The wise man sees power as a responsibility. The fool sees it as a reward, and therefore the fool reaches for it first. The structures of society are built in such a way that those who hunger for validation rise more quickly than those who hunger for truth. Every institution, political, religious, corporate, social, contains within it systems of competition. Each system rewards those who perform confidence, assert simplicity, and silence doubt. The ones who say, "I know," are elevated above the ones who say, "Let us examine." But certainty is rarely a sign of intelligence. More often, it is a sign of ignorance polished into confidence. The fool learns early how to mimic competence. He studies the gestures of authority, the cadence of leadership, the costume of seriousness. He learns that perception outweighs substance, that a firm voice can hide a hollow mind, that decisive motion can conceal the absence of direction. He does not need to solve problems. He only needs to look like the one who could. And once he looks the part, society rewards him. Consider the halls of politics. They are theaters of performance. The speeches are not written to enlighten, but to persuade. The debates are not held to determine truth, but to win favor. The campaigns are not designed to display competence, but to create emotional attachment. The fool thrives here. His lack of depth allows him to shift shape effortlessly. He can promise anything because he does not understand the cost of promises. He can condemn anything because he does not understand its complexity. He can speak endlessly because he has nothing to lose from misunderstanding. Those who seek true understanding are slower, more cautious, more thoughtful. They are dismissed as uncertain or weak because they refuse to speak without knowing. But in politics, certainty, not accuracy, is the currency of power. And thus, the fool purchases influence with boldness, while the wise purchase doubt with integrity. The same is true in the world of wealth. Power attracts those who desire the admiration of others. Wealth offers prestige, status, ownership, and image. Those who chase wealth for validation climb faster than those who earn it through discipline. And once wealth is acquired, whether earned or inherited, power follows it like a loyal shadow. The fool who possesses wealth gains influence simply because others assume wealth implies wisdom. Yet wealth has crowned more fools than philosophers. And in religion or ideology, the pattern repeats again. The charismatic preacher, the passionate activist, the fire-tongued leader of belief, often rises not because his ideas are profound, but because his conviction is intoxicating. People do not follow him because he is right. They follow him because he makes them feel right. The architecture of influence is emotional long before it is rational. And so we observe that every system of power, political, economic, ideological, naturally selects for the person who can manipulate appearances. The fool who craves attention is tireless. He will speak longer, push harder, perform louder than the wise man who grows wary of pretense. The fool thrives where image is valued more than reality, and power, in nearly every age, has been a game of images. The fool does not become king because he is clever. He becomes king because the throne itself rewards performance. Power is the stage where actors succeed and thinkers retreat. The fool desires the crown for the applause, and so long as the stage exists, he will walk upon it. And now we arrive at the final understanding. The reason society continues to create fools in power is not simply because the masses are misguided, nor because the stage of power rewards performance over wisdom. The deeper truth is that society needs its fools. The cycle is not an accident, it is a function. Like the tides of the sea or the turning of the seasons, it returns again and again, reshaping the world under the illusion of change. Human beings fear uncertainty more than they fear incompetence. A world led by wisdom is unpredictable, for wisdom responds to truth, and truth ever shifting. But a world led by foolishness is strangely stable. The fool repeats. The fool imitates. The fool preserves the familiar illusions. And the masses, craving stability, accept this. It is easier to tolerate a predictable failure than to follow a leader who pushes them toward unknown growth. The fool tells them the world is fine as it is. The wise man tells them the world must change. The fool promises continuity. The wise man demands transformation. And transformation requires effort, discomfort, sacrifice. A society grows accustomed to its own mediocrity. It becomes comfortable in its routines, its rituals, its stories. And when someone threatens these stories, even with the truth, the society resists. The wise leader is a threat, but because he is wrong, but because he is right too soon. His vision disturbs the equilibrium. He asks people to face themselves, but people prefer to face the world as they wish to see it. And so, like a body rejecting an organ that might save it, the society rejects the wise and embraces the familiar fool. Throughout history, whenever a society begins to decay, it does not elevate the thinkers or the philosophers. It elevates the entertainers, the loud ones, the comforting voices that promise revival without effort, glory without discipline, prosperity without sacrifice. The fool becomes a symbol of reassurance. He is the promise that nothing painful must change. The society clings to him because he symbolizes their desire to remain as they are. There is also a certain convenience in having a fool in power. When things go wrong, the people have someone to blame. They can point to the incompetent leader and say, "It is his fault." And in doing so, they absolve themselves of responsibility. Blame is a luxury. It frees the individual from examining his own role. A wise leader would not permit this. He would demand participation, accountability, shared responsibility. But the fool accepts blame because he does not understand it, and the masses accept him because he protects them from self-reflection. The cycle continues not because society is doomed, but because society is afraid of change, afraid of truth, afraid of growth. The fool becomes a shield between the people and reality, and as long as fear governs the heart of the masses, the fool will always have a place among kings. Even revolutions do not break this pattern. A revolution removes the fool only to replace him with another. The crowd shouts for change, but change terrifies them, so they choose a new leader who speaks of progress but acts in familiar ways. The banners change color, the speeches change tone, the promises change shape, but the nature of power remains the same. The actors rotate, but the stage remains, and the same performance is repeated under a new costume. The wise men, the genuine thinkers, the observers understand this. They remain at the edges of power, advising quietly, influencing subtly, shaping outcomes without ever placing their head beneath the crown. They know that to rule directly is to stand in the path of the masses' contradictions. The wise survive by guiding from the shadows, while the fools illuminate themselves upon the stage. And so, society maintains its balance. The fool occupies the throne, absorbing blame, performing spectacle, reassuring the masses. The wise whisper from the corners, preserving knowledge, waiting for moments of crisis when their guidance is needed. The masses continue their routines, unaware of the quiet equilibrium between illusion and insight that sustains their world. So now, we arrive at the truth behind the spectacle. Society does not simply allow fools to rise into power. It requires them. The masses choose leaders who mirror their desires, not their needs. They reward comfort over truth, confidence over competence, entertainment over understanding. The throne does not produce wisdom. It reflects the collective character of those who place the crown. From the beginning, society trains people to obey rather than question. It teaches consistency, not curiosity. It raises individuals to seek validation rather than knowledge. And when these individuals go on to choose their leaders, they choose the reflection of themselves. The fool becomes king not because he is extraordinary, but because he is familiar. The masses love him because he reassures them. He tells them what they want to hear. He spares them the discomfort of change. And even when his incompetence is clear, they cling to him because abandoning him would mean accepting their own mistake. The fool becomes a shield, a mask, an excuse. He is both their comfort and their prison. Meanwhile, the wise stand on the edges, seeing, understanding, but rarely ruling. For to rule wisely is to challenge the illusions that society clings to. And a society that fears truth will not follow the one who brings it. So it repeats its cycles, again, age after age, kin to democracy, dynasty to republic, emperor to influencer. The stage changes, the actors remain the same. Narrator pauses, voice cool, almost compassionate. If you wish to escape this cycle, you must first refuse the comfort of the crowd, learn to see beyond appearances, learn to question what others accept. Learn to value truth over pleasure, reality over fantasy, responsibility over blame. Only then will you understand power. Only then will you understand freedom.